story does not begin with rebellion. It actually begins with curiosity and with contradiction. Hi everyone, welcome to Quiet Curiosities, Beyond the History Textbooks, a podcast where we dive deep into India's rich history across various genres. My name is Soumya Srivastava and I'm your host for this podcast. The story that I have for you today is one of the most inspiring stories that I've read in a very long time. So without further ado, let's dive directly into the story. Before the textbooks, before the footnotes, before the neat timelines that make history feel distant and tidy, there was a young girl sitting on the floor of a modest home in colonial India, tracing unfamiliar letters with her fingers. Outside, the world had already decided who she was allowed to become. But inside, something quietly refused to agree. It is the late 19th century. India is under British rule. For most girls, life follows a narrow path laid out at birth itself. Learn the household, learn obedience. Marriage comes early, often before childhood has properly even ended. Education for women is considered unnecessary at best, dangerous at worst. And medicine? Medicine is a man's world, a foreign world, a forbidden world. Now imagine being a child in that time and feeling something stir when you hear about the human body. Illness, healing. Imagine wanting to learn not just prayers for the sick, but cures, wanting to understand the pain rather than simply endure it. The story does not begin with rebellion. It actually begins with curiosity and with contradiction. She was married at the age of 9, a practice that was common then, but no less jarring to us now. Her husband was older, educated, and deeply unconventional for his time. He believed that women should be educated, not quietly literate, but fully, fiercely educated. He taught her to read and write, not just in Marathi, but eventually in English. This alone made their household completely unusual. It also made them controversial. People talked, they always do when a woman steps out of line for them. But learning to read was only just the beginning for her. The true turning point came from tragedy. A friend, a woman in labor, complications. No female doctor to treat her, and social norms that prevented male doctors from examining her. The result was death, a preventable death. That moment left a scar. It planted a dangerous idea. What if women could be doctors? What if knowledge could save lives where tradition had failed? The idea seemed absurd to society, but to her it felt inevitable. When she expressed the desire to study medicine, the backlash was swift. People accused her husband for corrupting her. They accused her of abandoning her culture. They accused her of arrogance. After all, who did she think she was? Wanting to study science in a foreign land? Because yes, the plan was not just education, it was America. Picture this. A teenage girl from India in the 1880s, prepared to travel across oceans to a country she has never seen, to study a subject few women anywhere in the world were allowed to even pursue. She did not know what awaited her. She did not know if she would survive the journey, the climate, the loneliness, the scrutiny. What she did know was that staying would mean shrinking herself to fit a life she could not accept back home. She wrote letters to American reformers explaining her dream. One of them responded, a woman named Theodosia Carpenter. I could be wrong here with the pronunciation. Do tell me in the comments what the correct pronunciation if this was wrong. Miss Carpenter became her sponsor, her ally, and later her lifelong friend. With financial help, moral support, and sheer courage, the journey began. The voyage itself took months. Steam shifts, rough seas, illness, isolation. By the time she reached America, she was physically fragile and emotionally exhausted. But she had arrived. She enrolled at the Women's Medical College of Pennsylvania. Even there, among women students, she was an outsider. Her clothes were different, her accent unfamiliar, her customs misunderstood. Newspapers wrote about her like a curiosity, the Hindu lady doctor. Some were supportive, others patronizing. Many could not decide whether to admire her or to pity her. Medical school was brutal in itself. Long hours, complex anatomy, dissections, examinations, and all of it in a language that was not her own. Her health deteriorated, tuberculosis haunted her constantly. There were moments when quitting would have been much more reasonable, sensible even, but she stayed. She studied with coughing blood, she attended lectures while feverish, she pushed through the pain that would have broken most people out there. Because the alternative was returning without fulfilling the promise she had made to herself and to every woman who would have come after her. And then, in 1886, something extraordinary happened. She graduated. A woman from colonial India, educated in America, earning a medical degree, the first of her kind. At her graduation ceremony, none other than the Queen Victoria sent her a message of appreciation. The British Empire, which governed her homeland, could not ignore what she had achieved. But triumph did not mean peace. She returned to India to a hero's welcome. People celebrated her, speeches were made, flowers were thrown. She was appointed as a physician in charge at a hospital for women. On paper, it looked like the perfect ending. In reality, her body was sadly failing. Years of strain, illness, and relentless effort had taken their toll. Tuberculosis worsened, treatment options were limited. She was forced to return to America in search of better care, this time not as a student but as a patient. She was only 22. She died far too young, in a foreign land thousands of miles away from the country she had hoped to heal. For a long time, history treated her like a footnote, a novelty, a first without context, a short life summarized in a single line. But her story is not about how early she died. It's about how much she lived in the little time she had. She proved that Indian women could pursue science at the highest level. She challenged the belief that tradition and education were enemies. She forced society to confront the cost of denying women medical care, and she did all of this before the age at which most people are still trying to figure out who they are. Her name is Anandi Gopal Joshi. Remember it. Not because she was the first Indian woman doctor, though she was. Remember it because she imagined a future that did not yet exist and then walked into it knowing that it might destroy her. History textbooks often tell us what happened. Stories like hers remind us what it took. And sometimes that is way more of an important lesson. Well, that's it from me for today. If you like this episode, do follow us here on Quiet Curiosities, and we'll be back with another episode next time.